Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Hey, white people, where y'all going? Nah, wait a minute. Where y'all going? Where you guys going to? And I know it's you. I know it's you. Where y'all going? No, man. The amount of for sale signs I'm seeing on these houses out here. Where y'all going? Bryanston, Houghton, Rosebank, Waterfall, Dainton areas. These areas where y'all live at. Randburg, Leapi. Where are you guys going? All these for sale signs on these houses. I know it's y'all that live here. We don't landscape like this. I know it's you guys. Where you guys going? Where? Canada, Australia, Dubai? Where you guys going? Because I'll be damned if I'm staying here without you guys. I'm following you people. Where you guys go is where I go. I'm Zimbabwean. I know this trend. This happened in Zim. Y'all left like this in Zim. Well, okay, Mugabe kicked y'all out, but y'all started leaving like this in Zim. I'm not going through this again. I am not going through this again. Hell no. I'm not staying here without y'all. Where you going, Mariki? I got my passport ready. God, you guys are leaving.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Patrick here. Class is in session. And what that guy is talking about is the downfall of Rhodesia that led to the founding of Zimbabwe, which led to the fall of a once great empire in Africa, when the Marxist communists revolted against the Europeans that were there, and then in the 2000s issued basically punishment and retribution and repayment for sins of the past. And what happened in Zimbabwe from that? Well, the population fell from around 277,000 to around 25,000. Famine and economic devastation ensued, all in the name of, we're taking back what's ours, you get out. And that's not really taught in history at the high school level so much in detail, probably other than maybe a 15-minute lesson, because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the narrative that they're trying to push through the school systems. So they ignore those. And instead, what the school system focuses on is the oppressive nation that America has always been. At least that's what they try and instill in the youth of here in America. But let's continue what happened in Zimbabwe post-2000 once the farmland seizures started to occur. The majority of the farms in Zimbabwe at the time were controlled by whites. And Zimbabwe had, well, Rhodesia had, or was known for, tremendous education, healthcare, booming economy, was exporting food to other hurting African nations. And then in 2000, when, when the communist real push in Zimbabwe occurred to kind of take our land back, that's when the agricultural production and the economy of Zimbabwe fell off the cliff. Along with that was the life expectancy of people as well. For women, it dropped from 57 years down to 34 years of age. That was life expectancy, 34. For men, it dropped from 54 down to 37. And that's all because of the lack of food and nutrients and resources that the people didn't have anymore. And it wasn't that they didn't have the farmland, they had the farmland, but they didn't know how to do the work. And then instead of exporting food and being a helpful hand to other struggling African nations, Zimbabwe then started to have to import food, import money. And even to this day, the country is not doing too well. It does have a decent literacy rate, but economic-wise, industrialization, food-wise, not doing so hot. And that could all be tied back to what caused that nation to fall, and that was the blaming of white people for everything, attacking the white people in the country, and then the white people leaving. And this dude that's driving around notices houses all up for sale, and he's saying, you know, it's white people. We don't landscape like this. It's wealthy neighborhood. Where y'all going? Where y'all going? I've seen this happen before. He's speaking to the past. He's speaking to the past of when white people start to flee an area, pay attention. He's saying that. Why? Because he lived it. I guess his lived experience doesn't count, though, because that's what the leftists all care about, is lived experience. Well, this guy's talking about his lived experience and what ensued after white people left Zimbabwe in 2000, and yeah. And he's seen that trend happen now in America, and he's like, I don't want to be here for this. I wonder why. Is there any good rational reason as to why he would feel that way? Because according to the left, he should be fine with all this. He should be happy that white people are leaving neighborhoods. But he's not. He's concerned because he understands the social order. He understands that predominantly white neighborhoods are safe and peaceful and productive. He understands that. And he's worried now, seeing all these homes up for sale. Where are the white people going? Because I want to follow them. So yeah, that's all being said out there in the open and raising the alarms and giving the warnings of what's to follow. And now the question is, why are white people leaving? Where are they going? Where are they leaving, right? But why are they leaving? Well, let's be honest here. People like safety, people like order, people like logic. And if those things are not happening in your cities or your counties, people are going to leave if they can. Because people don't want to be surrounded by the lunacy anymore. People are tired of the lunacy. People are fatigued out of all the craziness that's around them in these major blue cities and major metropolitan areas, that they're leaving. And who can blame them? If you don't want all the talk of equity and socialism and social justice and gray hairs and blue hairs and pink hairs and trans kids in schools and boys competing against girls taking state championships away, right? People will leave that. Over and over again. People will choose to leave if they can. Because people don't want to be surrounded by the insanity. And take a look what happened over Chicago over Memorial Day weekend. Let's play cut 2.
Video from the evening of Memorial Day shows large crowds of teens taking over 57th Street Beach and streets in Hyde Park. Police said there were several hundred. The rowdy crowd is seen fighting, dancing on top of squad cars, and throwing objects at officers as police tried to clear the area. Chicago police say 53 people were arrested and 9 weapons, including guns, knives, tasers, and bear mace, were recovered. About half of those charged were minors for things like weapons charges, reckless conduct, and failing to disperse. Police are also still searching for the gunman who shot and injured an 18-year-old and 2 19-year-olds just hours after the crowd moved into Hyde Park later that night, just blocks away.
It's not funny. It's a trend that's happening everywhere. It's these teen takeovers that lead to arrest, lead to injuries, lead to property destruction. And unfortunately, there's a primary demographics that is associated with all these takeovers. And they're taking place in the same type of areas and neighborhoods. Blue city, blue states. Why? Well, is it because those kids are being taught in the school system with no accountability for actions or behavior, so they take it to the streets? Yeah. 100%. If your kids are going to the public schools, they are learning about restorative justice, social activism. All that stuff has nothing to do with personal responsibility and learning what is right and wrong. And then you combine that with the lack of father figures in the household, you see the end result. And this is what is wanted, actually. Like the forces that be want the chaos in the streets. And then if you live in these areas where it's occurring, right? Chicago's not the only one, but if you're living in these areas where these teen takeovers are happening at malls, parks, hell, just even a regular street, You don't want to be in that. You don't want to be associated with that because lunacy happens when large gatherings like that occur. And if you paid attention, there was 53 arrests made, over 1,000 people. Middle of the day, Memorial Day weekend. You had weapons, guns, knives, tasers, bear mace. Like, who takes that stuff out with them? And if you need to take that stuff out with you, why are you going out? Right? So you're looking to provoke. You're looking to engage. You're looking to create destruction. And that's going on all throughout these teen takeovers. It's not kids hanging out at the park playing hoops. It's not people throwing the ball around. No, they're congregating in thousands, taking over areas. Businesses are losing prospect. Damage is occurring. Businesses are losing revenue, scaring clients off. People don't want to live in that type of environment. And these kids aren't held accountable. They've never been held accountable because the school system refuses to hold kids accountable. Instead, what the school systems do is they brainwash the kids and teach these kids that they're victims of the society, which is absolutely absurd because any kid can succeed if they choose to. I've seen black kids succeed. I've seen Hispanic kids succeed. I've seen Asian kids, white kids. I've seen kids with disabilities succeed. I've seen them all. And you know what the common thread is? Those kids wanted to do good. That's all it comes down to when it's education, the want and desire to succeed. You don't have to be the smartest kid. You just have to want to do well. But in the education field right now, kids aren't being taught that, and kids aren't being taught that at home. They're being taught, what does the school have to do for me? What do you have to do for me? What does society have to do for me? I'm owed stuff. So when you have that type of mentality, you're not really going to apply it to learning anything because you believe it's just earned to you. You deserve it. And this is the products we get. And then we get into the judicial system where the judicial system is not holding kids accountable or even adults accountable for these types of behaviors. Commit fraud, millions of dollars, 6 months in jail. Uncover election fraud, 9.5 years. Go figure. By the way, Tina should be getting out June 1st. That's coming up relatively quick. It's getting exciting, right? It's getting exciting. I really hope to meet her one day. I really do love to talk with her and say thank you. Just thank you for everything you had to deal with. But yeah, the school system is leading these kids on this path with no off-ramp, really. They're not giving these kids a chance of success, right? Like, even look in Texas. Texas has blue pockets in there. Do you see these teen takeovers happening down there? No, they don't. Because their school system actually is still pretty well functional down there. Even though it's controlled, some of them are controlled by libtards, it's not at the level as it is in Chicago, right? It's not there in the level of Oregon, California, right? Remember the clips we played of all these different schools all over the country of just organizing these mass ice walkout protests, right? So the school system is hijacked for teaching kids social justice and being an activist. Also, at the same time, not teaching them actual factual history or just teaching them the basic skills of reading and writing so that they could possibly be successful in the future. And the third one is fewer and fewer districts offer vocational education, actually hands-on training for kids to go into the field. You know, electrician, plumber, HVAC, things that machines still won't be able to do for a while. But districts aren't offering these programs at scale to their population because they don't have the funds for it. Well, they don't have the funds for it because districts instead decide to spend, let's say, $5, $6, $10 million in other administrative fields, creating equity departments that take $6, $7, $10 million away from the learning opportunities for kids. But districts justify it as, we're fighting the good cause here. We need equity more than we need trade schools for our kids because equity is going to do more for the kids. That's how mentally washed those that are in charge of school districts are today. And it's a shame that more and more people don't understand exactly how their tax dollars are being wasted and thrown down the toilet by their local school districts if you actually go through their budgets. And then if you really want to do some digging, go through your local school district and see if they have any lawsuits pending. That's always fun. Check your local school districts and see if they have lawsuits pending. and do a little research on the lawsuit. See what legal firms represent them, and then take it a step further. Fill out a Freedom of Information request about how much your school district is paying the law firm to fight these lawsuits that they're involved in. And then you get a grand total of how much your money is being wasted because school districts are not following ethical or legal procedures, and they're getting sued for it. Just ask Cherry Creek. But I want to play this video. Let's play cut 3. And this kind of unpacks a little bit of American history with slavery and kind of intertwines into what we're talking about today, which is the woke mind virus that is destroying America.
I prompted AI to make me a list of countries that didn't practice slavery in 1776. And this is what it came up with. This was the list. Only 7 countries in the world. Yet 7 American colonies abolished slavery right after the American Revolution. So America abolished slavery in 7 states when the rest of the world had only abolished it in 7 countries. And they don't teach that in school, just like they don't teach that Thomas Jefferson essentially called for the end of slavery in the original draft of the Declaration of Independence. And as president, it was Jefferson who ended the North Atlantic slave trade. But doing anything with slavery was very politically difficult because it was an institution, a cultural norm that had gone on everywhere in the world for thousands of years. And it was Europe, and specifically Britain, that would ultimately lead the charge against it. And slavery continued around other parts of the world deep into the 20th century, long after 1865. But the way in which the history of American slavery is framed in schools makes children believe it was a uniquely American evil. The objective is to turn young people against the founding of this country, while the truth is that people like Thomas Jefferson were the greatest champions of liberty in human history. And their radical ideas of things like individual liberty are ultimately what made the end of slavery possible. And that's the truth that those in power don't want you to know. And this is why...
Yeah, he hit the nail on the head there. Slavery has been a thing since basically the dawn of time throughout civilization. Men and civilizations have fought, gone to war with each other for resources, food, and then whatever was left over, you became my property, whoever won. And that's how it was practiced all over the place. No one talks about the Arab slave trade. That's big market, big money, well within the 1900s. No one talks about that. And the majority of people that were enslaved, white people. No one talks about that either, because it goes against the narrative. And then you talk about, you talk about the Muslim conquest. Why is Islam so wide practiced throughout Africa? Anyone? Because they conquered it, and then whoever didn't convert, whoever didn't convert, they killed. Simple. And that was going along all the way north of Africa, came across into Europe, across Spain, over the Strait of Gibraltar into Spain, conquered Spain, worked its way into France, and eventually finally got stopped in France and pushed back by who? The white people, the Europeans. And if that didn't happen in the 700s, we wouldn't be here today. We would be singing Allah Akbar. But that's not talked about either. No one talks about, that's kind of taught in history, but the significance of those events are not explained to the kids to the level that it needs to be explained for them to understand what is happening today. And that's being done purposely. Well, purposely by the schools, because they're not implementing the curriculum the right way. And secondly, I blame a lot of it on the teachers, because the teachers that are in front of them don't actually know the full history of anything, and they don't bother to look past what's in front of them. And I was guilty of that my first couple of years as a teacher as well. And then eventually I started to get more into more of my craft and learning and seeing more history, which allowed me to articulate to the students the holistic view instead of a selected narrative view. But what goes on in American classrooms today is exactly that. It is the narrowing down of that America is this big problem of a racist country that was systemically oppressive and was this master power behind slavery. No. America was a byproduct, slavery was still a byproduct of the American way of life after we gained our independence from England, but we moved quickly to try and undo slavery here in America. As you saw from that video, 7 states immediately outlawed slavery. They were all northern states. And while slavery was still being practiced in the southern part of the United States and predominantly throughout the rest of the world, 7 infant states in America said slavery is not acceptable here, boom. And that started the drawdown in America, which eventually led to the Civil War, which led to hundreds of thousands of white people killing each other to free black people. But yet somehow this country is still systemically oppressive through the eyes of the left. And nothing you could say, nothing you could do, nothing you could talk to them about, no matter how much logic and reasoning you present to them, will ever change their mind, because they are shot. There's no other way to say it. And then you get the anti-American teaching within the school district that then, in the school system, that warps the young children's minds. And then young children say things. Well, we got a graduation here out of Louisville, Kentucky, and I want you guys to hear this 8th grader's speech at his middle school.
My name is Daniel Mattingly, and apparently this school doesn't know better than to give an angry gay kid a microphone. No shade at all, but I came to the graduation planning to give a speech about my trauma influencing me as a person. And black, brown, and mixed youth are facing oppression nowadays and being forced to fear their own identities. I had a speech ready to cheer on and encourage oppressed youth, which makes up the entirety of the school. I was told by Mr. Dawson and Miss Imes that there's a time and a place. My speech is too negative, it's too controversial. This school is built on racism, sexism, and homophobia. I encourage everyone here today to stand up for yourself, even if it makes a scene. This school is fucking ridiculous.
In a red state, pretty sure a blue city, but a red state, and you have an 8th grader that is speaking this way in front of a graduation ceremony, believing it's okay, and then going on to say they don't know any better than to give an angry gay kid a microphone, and that this school is built on racism, sexism, and homophobia. This is what's being programmed into young kids throughout the education system, and it needs to be undone. The amount of damage that's being done to these kids is uncalculable. They are setting these kids up to be an absolute train wreck as they become older. And that's purposely being done. So we need to get involved. We need to get this straightened out. We need to take back the education system at the local level, because that's where it really matters, right? We could say Trump did away with Department of Ed, this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, what really matters is the local level and what you tolerate from your school board. And a lot of the school boards act like a criminal cartel. So it's hard to find information or to get access to where the bodies are hidden. And school districts throughout the country know how to operate this way. That's why a lot of them don't get caught doing things that they're doing. But this kid right here just set that whole graduation ceremony on fire. And then you hear the happy seals, the other 8th graders that have been programmed the same way, clapping for him after he is done. Once again, talking about the oppression of black and brown students. Where? The only oppression that's happening to black and brown students in America is the oppression of the minds that they are getting from their education system. That's the only oppression that's happening to the black and brown kids in the school system. That's it. There's opportunities everywhere. It's what you want to do with those opportunities when they're presented to you. But there is no school in the country where black and brown kids are being systemically oppressed against, held out of classes because they're just being held out because they're black and brown. You know, they have the 90 GPA, but I'm not letting them in. Said no school ever. Said no school ever. So there is no oppression of the black and brown kids academically in the education field, except the lowering of the standards and bar for them from the equity departments in school districts. That could be the oppression that young man's talking about, but I don't think he knows too much and can go that deep into what's really happening in the school system to make that point. I can, and that's exactly what's going on in the school system is that. Black and brown kids are oppressed against because the bar in the public school system has been lowered so low for them. Grading for equity, restorative justice, all these new terminologies and ways of trying to do education was supposed to design and help uplift black and brown kids, but yet look at the data across the board. It's not the case. Graduation rates are up. Literacy rates are down. So how do those intertwine as a school district? How can you say 85 or 87% of your kids are graduating high school, but only 55 can read at grade level? 55% can read at grade level. Shouldn't being able to read and write at grade level be a condition of graduating high school? Not if you're using grading for equity. Any rational person should believe that. Anyone on the street, if you walk up to a random person on the street, hey, if you have a high school diploma, should you know how to read and write? I guarantee majority of people say, duh, yeah, don't they? No, that's not the case anymore. And it's because the bar has been lowered in the school system so low that you might not even need to know the alphabet in order to graduate. And it's all because schools have put a target on social justice, creating this utopian society that they believe is necessary to pay for the sins of the past of this country. And if we don't do that, then nothing matters. Doesn't matter if these kids can read or write or have a future. We have to burn it all down. And that's what they're programming these kids to do. And they're lighting the fuse by not giving them the skills to be successful when they get older. So they're making the perfect storm. They're making the perfect storm. Kids are being taught this country sucks, and there is no chance for advancement here because we're systemically oppressed. That's kind of what they're taught in the school system. Well, let's offer a different perspective here. Let's play cut 5.
If you were born in California, especially the major cities like Oakland, Los Angeles, San Francisco, do you understand that you were born around influence? The whole world copies California. From the beauty standards, the lifestyle, the music, the trends, everything. Everybody watches California. So if you were born in environments like that, around that much culture and influence, why are you playing small? Why are you acting like your dreams are impossible when people move across the world every single day trying to touch the same environment that you were naturally born into? That's why I say some are picked for bigger things in life. And once you realize that, you'll stop playing small. So with this knowledge, what are you going to do with your life now?
Yeah. Supplement California for the United States, and it's 100% true. We are victims to our own mindset in this country, thinking we can't achieve anything when millions of people from all around the world believe they can come here and achieve. How does that line up? That's being done purposely through the education system to demoralize the youth, to starve them out, excuse me, to break their desire, to break their motivation, to break their entrepreneurial skills, to make them leech on the government for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, millions of people all around the world that don't have access to what's being taught in the American education system believe they can come here and succeed. So who knows better? Those people that are from all over the world, millions of people from all around the world coming to America, do they know better? Or should our school system know better? The people outside our country know better. The people outside our country know how great this country is, and they want to come here, and they know that they could succeed. They know they'll have freedom and choice and the ability to pursue whatever their passion is. Yet we don't instill that same love for this country that foreigners have. How do you sustain this society if you don't have the love for country for the younger generations coming up through the ranks? And also, let's not forget, that's purposely being done to starve out military enrollments also, right? Let's also clear that up, right? It's all being done purposeful. But she is making great point. If you're gonna think this way, you're gonna play small. Stop playing small and falling for the trap. But a lot of people are playing small and falling for the trap. They like being lied to and hearing what the government says because you know what? It plays into their inner being too. It plays into what they believe and how they feel. So why not just, oh yeah, I deserve everything. I've been treated horribly. This country is racist against me. Gimme, 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 gimme. I don't have to work for anything. That lady right there deserves her own class in a school somewhere to teach the youth. To give the children something to look up to and inspire and to hear the counter argument to. I would love to hear the answer. Why do millions of people come here if they have no chance of succeeding? I have yet to have that question answered, Ron. Like, I don't get it. She's like, why millions of people coming to America? Because they want a chance to touch the sand that you have access to every day. That's hard hitting. The reality of not being able to see the privilege you have of being born in this country and the opportunities you could seize is sad. It's sad that you'll have people that that live in a desert, that live in foreign countries, jungles, poor cities, that aren't oppressed again. They're not oppressed. They may live in poverty, but they're not oppressed. They're not systemically oppressed. They're just poor. They believe they can come to America and succeed. Why, if we're systemically oppressive? I'll tell you why, because you can. You may not be a millionaire, but your standard of living will increase if you work hard, do the right thing, and make sacrifices. But no one wants to hear that chatter anymore. No one wants to hear you got to make sacrifices, you got to work hard, you got to work 40, 50 out. No one wants to hear that. It sucks, it's tiring. But that's the byproduct. And then you say, well, rich people don't have to do it. Well, how did they get rich? What did they do? Right? Some of them inherit, others invent. Right? And that's what our society has allowed for. People with great ideas and great skill to take us further and further and further. Think about it. How far would Elon Musk would have gone if he didn't have the ability to make as much money as he can make with the technology she's advancing, right? People wouldn't do it. People wouldn't do it. Eventually, you're going to plateau, and then eventually, you're going to fall off a cliff. So yeah, the education system has done tremendous damage to the youth, and by doing the damage to the youth, they're doing tremendous damage to this country long term as well. And they don't care. And the teachers' unions are fine by it because as long as they keep getting their paychecks and their pay increases, they're cool with it. Union presidents are cool with it because they're fine. They could look from their ivory tower down onto the kids like, ha, 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 ha. When this blows up, I'll be fine because I'll be retiring and close to being dead. Literally, that's the reality of what they're thinking. So yeah, education system. And just to show you how bad the mind rot is on the left, and the side that believes and teaches inclusion and love and diversity and all that fun stuff, well, apparently they also believe in stereotyping based on your appearance. Let's play cut 6.
Open it! You guys are being They work here! They work here, dumbass! I'm a chunk of it. They work here! They work here! That's racist. They just assume. Yeah, they just assume that they got racist. That's very racist.
So that was at Newark, New Jersey. We're gonna have another clip about what happened there that night. But two brown gentlemen that are walking out of the ICE, they're getting cheered because the leftists out there believe that those guys that are being let go are detainees. Meanwhile, they're ICE agents, but they're cheering on them just based on their looks. So those guys there believe that anyone that's brown that comes out of the ICE facility is a detainee that's being released, and they believe brown people can't work for ICE, right? But it just shows the mind rot where they just, boom, put everyone in boxes based on what they look like, even though they believe in diversity. But once again, the diversity of what? Just skin color? Because we know diversity of thought gets messy when you combine that with diversity of skin color, because all white people don't think the same. But liberals want you to believe all black people, all brown people, all other different colors think the same. And by in turn, white people think the same. But no, white people don't think the same. If we all thought the same, we would be what they want us to be, which is liberal, but we're not. But for their purposes, when you talk about having diversity in organizations or representing diversity in education settings. It has nothing to do with the mental thought or the mental capacity of people at the table. It simply has to do with the skin color of them at the table, which in turn means whatever their skin color is what they have to believe. And that's liberal logic. They're the racist ones. They're the bigots. They always project who they are onto others. Trump's a fascist? No, they're the fascists. No kings, no, they're the ones who act like the kings. Like everything they do and say is a projection of what they truly are. It's who they are. They're the fascist, right? If you remember that video about, you know, how they labeled Trump a Nazi and all that. No. All the isms are on the left side, which is total control, and that's what they want. They are the authoritarians. They are the Nazis. They are the fascists. They are the communists that are marching through, boom, 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 boom. But they smokescreen everybody, and people that are their foot soldiers, the liberal left that came out of the school system, don't realize that they are the useful idiots of these people. Because when you actually unpack all this, logic and reason trumps lefty logic every time. It trumps the lefty lunacy every time. And then when lefty lunatics get into a debate or an educational setting where it's right, eventually it'll get emotional, erupt. Name call, walk away. That guy was so mean to me, he's a bigot. Instead, no, you just got smoked sitting down because you couldn't actually handle the facts of a situation. And then they get hurt. And then they make emotional decisions. Right, Ron? You act emotionally and you make mistakes. Well, we're going to keep with the Newark part. So that was during the day. A couple of Hispanic gentlemen walked out. They thought they were detainees. Well, at nighttime, you got a garbage truck trying to just do his job outside this facility. Let's play cut 7.
Go and get locked up! Huh? What am I doing? Am I bothering y'all? Huh? If I hit one of y'all, I ain't go to jail, right? No, I ain't go to jail. If I hit y'all, go to jail, right? Come on! What's wrong with y'all, man? Come on, man! Fuck, yo!
These are working, let's go. Watch your back, man. Let's go.
Crazy, man!
These guys are not the enemies. People are inside fucking. I understand that. And that's why we're here. But these people are working. I'm not afraid of anything. What are you afraid of? Do you want to stop ICE? Do you want to stop them? This is not stopping ICE. That's ICE over there. What are you doing? These people are not ICE.
Protesting. Come onto other people's lands. You got to think about what you do and how you represent the people that are there.
Those are the working class traders, not them. These are not the working class traders. They fucking are.
So there you go. They formed a blockade in the street. Garbage guy's like, I got to get my job. And if I hit you, I go to jail. Get out of my way. And he has a valid point. But these leftists, you know, at the moment didn't seem to care. But eventually, cooler heads prevailed. They got out of the way. And then they just start eating each other because they don't have principles or guidelines of what they're doing out there. And they're not organized to that level, right? Their organizing involves getting a text message. Hey, show up at this spot. You'll get paid $20 an hour. Stay there for 7 hours. That's what they get told to do. Right? That's what they get told to do. There's no actual organization down there at those levels. And then you hear them, oh, they're the enemy. No, they're the enemy. No, they're the enemy. No, they're the enemy. Nope, your guys are the enemy. Right? And all this is happening because they want to protest ICE and ICE enforcement. There was an inmate that died at that facility. The story is that they fell down a flight of stairs. There's outrage that didn't happen. No full story yet. But this is what happens. And I really feel like we're building towards something happening for kind of like a 2020 summer of love type in 2026. I just feel it's building, tensions are mounting, weather's gonna be nice. I could see something like that happening where we'll get a nice little summer of love dosage over an event happening. that then sparks massive outrage and protest, because we're kind of due for one, right? It's just kind of how it works. We're kind of due for one. But these ICE people, they're protesting ICE and the treatment of criminal illegal aliens who are being deported, right? They are preventing and trying to hinder ICE agents from deporting criminal illegal aliens. Once again, why? Why do criminal illegal aliens want to come here to be oppressed again? I don't understand, because they're not oppressed against. What happens a lot of the times with criminal illegal aliens is they actually offend American citizens, and in a lot of cases have killed American citizens. No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to highlight, to pay respect to these families that have lost their members to illegal aliens. And one just happened last week in Oklahoma. Let's check this story out.
This was a murder. This was an intentional act.
Michael Rosario Cruz is facing 10 charges, including 4 for second-degree murder, 2 DUIs, 2 for firearms, along with transporting an open container and wrong way on a one-way road.
This defendant in this case made the decision, intentional decision, to go and drink at a local bar, restaurant, then get on the interstate, so impaired that he got on going the wrong direction.
The department says they believe Cruz got on the highway at I-40 in Meridian.
We received calls right around the Meridian, MacArthur area of a wrong way driver. Troopers immediately responded and were just seconds behind him whenever the collision happened.
OHP says a pistol was in the truck along with beer cans. Commissioner Tim Tipton also addressed Cruz's legal status.
The defendant in this case is not a legal citizen of the United States. He entered the country and in 2015 was given DACA status.
Last week, I spoke to Regina Hickson, the mother of Kiersey Hickson, and after Wednesday's update, I spoke to her again, along with Haley Salazar's mother, Shirley Salazar. The two tell me they are glad the suspect is in custody.
So I'm glad, that he's getting charged, he's being held accountable. And, I pray that the justice system does right by these kids.
Here's what Hickson and Salazar told me justice for them will look like.
Him being held accountable to the fullest and never stepping foot outside of a prison. Nothing that's gonna make our kids come back, but if they can give them the max sentence to each and every charge, I think that we will be happy about that.
They say although they want justice, that is not their focus.
Right now we're focusing on putting our children to rest, and we'll see them in court, and yes, we will. We'll get our babies justice.
So 4 kids were killed in Oklahoma, ages 18 through 20, because there's a drunk criminal illegal alien driving a car the wrong way on a highway and crashed into them head on. He survived, of course. 4 dead. How many more stories need to come out like this? We have the illegal truck drivers, the illegal drunk drivers that are killing Americans all over the roads. How many is enough? Because if one American was to kill an illegal alien this way, it would be all over the news. We've got to have close to hundreds of Americans, if not thousands, that have been killed this way by illegal aliens in this country that are then given a driver's license to operate motor vehicles, even though they probably can't read the signs on the road. This is the product of mind rot. People lose family members. And it's a sad travesty that is easily avoidable if you controlled your borders. But we had 4 years of no control over the borders because that was the plan. The plan was to unleash mass chaos amongst the American people. And they succeeded for the most part. And in the chat, people were talking about mass deportations. Those things have been off the table since Minnesota. Like, they haven't gone into the cities the way they were since Minnesota, and now the deal behind the scenes is that blue cities and states, for the most part, are cooperating through the law enforcement channels, so that a lot of criminal illegal aliens are being picked up at the prisons and then shipped out. Hush, hush, no cameras, no, right? So like it was kind of deal. So like if you're not committing crimes as an illegal alien, you're gonna get by just fine, basically. As long as you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're gonna get by just fine. And I got that from one of my friends that has been doing work for Border Patrol. So yeah, that's the reality. That's the truth. You could say we got betrayed, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, yeah, maybe. It's sad. It's sad because you let 20 million in, but you only get 5-6 million out. You still get overrun by 16 million. That's a lot. But just be prepared, be ready, take care of your family. I honestly don't depend on government to help us. I don't depend on it. I don't expect it. I'll be pleasantly surprised if and when they do. But I'm kind of just taking care of my own, coming to work every day, taking care of my family, doing my job, plugging in when Joe asked me to plug in. He's in Florida. He's doing fine, everyone, just so you know. Sorry I didn't mention that at the beginning of the show, jumped right into it. But Joe's doing well. Maybe he'll call in. I don't know. I have no idea. But he is doing fine. And yeah, just that's what I focus in on now. Fight my battles when I can, fight my legal battle every day, come here to work, raise my boy, take care of my house with my wife, and prepare. Not like a prepper, but you know, get ready, have extra food. That's kind of where I'm at right now. We'll see how much more I need to progress in that thought process. But that's kind of where I am now. And yeah. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna do a little update from my 10th Circuit May 12th oral argument hearings between myself and Cherry Creek. Stay tuned.
Oh, hi. I almost didn't see you there. Welcome to DCF Buns, where you can find the freshest buns in town, if I do say so myself. Our master bakers teach class every week, so whether you're new to baking or trying to improve your culinary skills, we got you covered. And we can help you bake the cake of your dreams. We'll even clean your cake if you want. And if you don't want to bake anything yourself, we have loads of fresh buns available in a variety of shapes and sizes. Check us out at dcfbuns.com to learn more. DCF Buns, we keep the buns hot and the deals hotter. Buns.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Patrick Hogarty was a middle school dean, asked in a virtual training breakout session with 2 other employees, "How do you identify?" The school told him to speak freely and in confidence, and that his answer wouldn't affect his employment. But the school disliked his answer about identifying as an American and preferred a different answer focused on systemic racism. So it invented a budget pretext and fired him. Here, Hogarty's answer to "How do you identify?" does not convey an official school message and is outside his job duties.
But is it compelled speech? I mean, did they tell him he had to say something and he refused to say it?
So, Your Honor, the difference between this and your ordinary compelled speech case is that it's retaliation after the fact. So Your Honor is exactly right that they didn't say in the training, here is what you must say. They just said, how do you identify? And then later they said, we're firing you because you didn't say, talk about systemic racism. You didn't acknowledge what people of color go through. So I think that is the equivalent of a, of an ordinary compelled speech claim, because the school had a message it wanted him to say, and because he didn't say it, it fired him.
So there you have it. That's part of the oral arguments that took place on May 12th in Denver at the 10th Circuit. That was one of my lawyers, Christopher Mills, during oral arguments, where he laid out the case plainly to the three-justice panel. And it's quite astounding that we're here at this point, that it has to be up at the 10th Circuit. It's crazy that I had to file a lawsuit. It's crazy that I got fired for all of this. All for simply being asked, how do I identify thoughts about whiteness? Why are those things even being interjected into the school system, into an education environment, is beyond me. But that's what equity does. It brings all these non-issues into the workplace to create issues. Therefore, it justifies why we have a $6, $7, $8, $10 million equity budget, because we've got to fix all this. No, it's a problem you're creating. It's a problem you're creating. And I hope you actually got the summarized version of it from Chris himself. He did a great job that day. He did a great job. The judges were engaged. They questioned a lot. I encourage you to go on YouTube, and you could find the link for the oral arguments. It's out there. I'll try and dig through it. Hopefully I'll find it and I can send it to you guys also. But yeah, the oral arguments lasted for about a half hour. It'll take a half hour of your time to listen, our side, their side, and then my side finished up. But I would definitely say that's something you guys should listen to, because it actually explains very clearly what happened to me. And then what I'm going to play here is I'm going to play one of the clips of the Cherry Creek's lawyer talking about how, yeah, we could do this. Let's play cut 2.
We're talking about, I would disagree about a private training. This is a school district required training. He was paid to be there. And not only that, he's paid to take what he learns in the training to his job.
The fact that he was paid to be there, I mean, he's not interacting with students. He's at this training. During the training, he is asked, what are your personal views? So he can either lie and just parrot the message they want to hear, or he can actually answer the question truthfully and get fired for it. I mean, that's what the complaint alleges. The only thing in the complaint of what he said is what we have. There's no follow-up allegation that we have a third party goes and makes a complaint and says, this, what he said, evidences that he's unwilling to acknowledge. But there's nothing in the complaint there's nothing that we have at this stage of the litigation that says that where he said, I will not acknowledge that people of color have more barriers than white people. I mean, there's nothing there.
It's implied, I guess, but he doesn't say that, and I can't argue with you on that.
It's implied there. It's implied because I said I love America, that I must feel a certain way about black and brown people. That's what was decided by the Cherry Creek School District. And their lawyer says it right there, it's implied. No facts, no basis for it, no evidence for it, just poof. We don't like what you say, banished. And I lost my livelihood for it. That's why I'm fighting. Because they came for something that wasn't theirs to come for. I'll use Joe's phrase there. It wasn't theirs to take. That was my job. I earned it. I earned being a dean at Campus Middle School in Cherry Creek School District. I earned that through my hard work and merit. And I was hired because of it. And then because I identify as an American, immediately it's decided that I can no longer serve the Cherry Creek community because I can't compartmentalize my love of country and serve the school community. That too was also argued in oral arguments. that I need to compartmentalize my love of country in order to serve children, according to the Cherry Creek School District. I don't even know how that equates. Someone needs to explain from the Cherry Creek School District why someone needs to compartmentalize love of country in order to work with the children of Cherry Creek School District. Because I believe once you make that public statement, you're gonna have a whole wave of proud American parents coming to your school board meetings and going off. And maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe that what needs to happen is me build this momentum for the summer and you guys come back in August, woof, packed school board meeting with hundreds of outraged parents that are now being made aware of actually what's going on in the Cherry Creek School District. And also, let's not forget the legal expenses that this is probably gonna line up to be. Their lawyers aren't free, I know that. But they're willing to pay top dollar to fight this the whole way through, and so be it. So be it. I'm at peace with fighting this the whole way through. You know, what I've went through the past year, damn right I'm willing to fight this all the way through. What it did to me, my family, the people that are involved, Lissa Stahl, Two-Face, Courtney Smith, Chris Smith, who's out now, Brenda Smith, who's out now. How about you, Angie Zahner? Your name's quiet, but you're listed on that lawsuit still. You know your role and responsibility in this. Courtney Smith, you damn well know, sure, your role and responsibility in this. Lissa, you as well. But where did it all start? Who started all this? Well, Ron Garcia E. Ortiz started all this. Let's put a picture of him up. There's Ronnie boy. There's Ron Garcia E. Ortiz. He is one of the directors in the equity department here at Cherry Creek School District. And he is the one that deemed my comments of having racist undertones. Keep him up for a little bit longer. He is the one that said me loving country had racist undertones and started all of this. Well, who is he to decide? Is there a rubric that they use? Because, you know, in the school level, you know, when you give someone a grade, the school makes sure that the teacher uses a rubric to make sure the grade is accurate. So where is the rubric, Ronnie boy, that me saying I love America has racist undertones? Can you show me the rubric in the equity department? Can you show me the rubric that you guys use to make these determinations and character assassinate somebody and then come for their livelihood and their career? Can you show me that rubric? Hopefully we'll get to that rubric if we get to Discovery, buddy. But I would love to see that rubric one day. And I think your school community, your constituents that pay your salary deserve to see that rubric as well. Because what happens if you are let's say a faculty member of a different race? Let's say you're a black faculty member in an equity training, and you say, and I quote, in a predominantly white school, white boys trigger me. Would that be more of a undertones of racism? Would that be appropriate to say in an equity training? Should there be a follow-up for that? I don't know, but I do know that was said in front of Lissa Stahl. I know that was said in front of Dan Hansen, assistant principal at Campus Middle School, now principal at Infinity Middle School in Cherry Creek School District. I know that comment was said in front of them in an equity training amongst other teachers, and everyone laughed and applauded. And then the teacher that said that magically got a job up at the district level in the literacy coordinating office, I believe. So how is that remotely fair and possible? Because the school district wants that message out there. The school district believes that's appropriate. The school district embraces that idea and believes white people have to pay. And then let's just keep this rolling. Let's put up the equity department in Cherry Creek School District. This is where Ron works. And if you take a look here, we'll just do a quick scroll. But you have Dr. Jasper Armstrong, Director of Youth Leadership and Development of Student Support. You have Rebecca Brindle, Executive Assistant. You have Jeffrey Chavez, Indigenous and Native Student Community Liaison. You got Ronnie Garcia E. Ortiz, Executive Director, big title, six-figure salary, probably $150,000, I'd say. Tanya Harris, Executive Assistant. Dr. Aspen Lopez, Director. Omar Montgomery, Director of Community Engagement. He's now listed in the lawsuit. Angelina Nickinsell, whoever, Administrative Assistant. Matthew Pedregon, Partner. Yeah, okay. Dr. Rumnell, Director. Dr. Shidu, Partner. Dan Taylor, Partner. Latoya Tolbert, Assistant Superintendent. Are you for real? You got 13 people in that equity department in a school district that has roughly around, what, 51,000 kids, and they're hemorrhaging kids every year because more and more people are fleeing the communist takeover of Cherry Creek. But they got 13 people in there. And if you try and find the actual hard body line for the equity department, you really got to shift through the budget to find it. They don't make it real easy because they know how much of an expenditure the equity department is. And they know how much money is being taken from the taxpayers of the Cherry Creek school community, who they call racist, to line their pockets with six-figure salaries that then allow them to live in rich white neighborhoods for the most part. Right, Ron? I believe you live in a nice white neighborhood. I don't know why you're not moving to the other side of town, but you know, all makes sense because these are what the equity grifters do. And what do they got pending? What has this equity department done for Cherry Creek School District? They argue that the equity department is a necessity. It improves the livelihood of our student body. It enriches the culture, right? It does all this stuff. No, it just hemorrhages money and siphons millions of dollars from taxpayers. That's all it does. I have a federal lawsuit pending against Cherry Creek School District. There is a DOJ request for investigation sitting on the desk of Harmeet Dillon at the DOJ's office, a civil rights violation. And there was a second lawsuit filed against Cherry Creek School District. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. We really didn't talk about it at all. But it's called FY versus Cherry Creek School District. It's case number 2026 CV01955. And that is another one that's directly tied to the equity office. Some members of the equity department are actually listed in that one again. Some repeat offenders from mine are listed in that one. A new one is listed in that one. Dan Hansen's a new one that's added to that one. He's a principal over at Infinity, like I said before. But this is what the equity department does. And this is going to cost millions of dollars to the taxpayers. You don't get sued in federal court. You don't get law firms to take things and get sued in federal court if what you're doing is legal. Especially America First Legal, because if Cherry Creek did any research into America First Legal, they'll see they're a nonprofit. So if you don't understand that yet, Cherry Creek, you really might want to reevaluate your positions here because this is going to have a heavy price tag. It's going to have a heavy price tag, legally. But they keep on pushing on. And, I see that, I believe it's the Denver Gazette that's been doing some work on Creek. But once again, local media does not touch the civil rights violation and the discrimination of discrimination of kids based on race and discrimination of staff and viewpoint discrimination. They don't touch those. They do not touch those. They'll report on Brenda Smith all day. The new report that came out about how they abused the system, Chris Smith, they'll touch that. They won't touch any of this. They will not touch any of this. And it's a shame because the community deserves real media reporting on these cases and holding the school community to the fire. And nobody in the local Denver community is picking up these stories. Not one. So, yeah. So the district argued also, right, I told you this, that I had to compartmentalize my love of country in order to serve kids. Well, we got some pictures here that get sent to me. So now being I have a new job, I have a new platform, I have people that are interested in what I'm doing and are looking to share information. And I get some from time to time. I got files that I'm building for exposure 100%. This is my job now. I give voice to the voiceless. That's my job. And I'm happy to do it because it needs to be done. Because I was looking for a voice and I couldn't find one for a long time. But people need a voice, and I'll be their voice. If you want to expose the school corruption, just keep shooting me in emails, patrick@untamednation.com. Shoot me emails. If you wanted to show me things about Creek, just let me know. But this is how I got some of these pictures up. So I was asked, I was told I couldn't compartmentalize. It was inferred I couldn't compartmentalize my love of country in order to basically do my job as a dean of students. So I had to get fired. Well, we got some Facebook posts from Ron Garcia E. Ortiz that he has up. And I want to just walk through some of these so you can see what the executive director of equity has on his Facebook page. And then I want people to try and fathom and understand how this is acceptable, but me just saying I love America isn't. Let's put up C5. So if you take a look there, that's Ron Garcia Ortiz. That's a post from 2025, I believe. I got to get this up on my screen here, but there you go. Viva la raza. Viva Mexico. Once again, I don't have a problem with that. You want to celebrate that? That's fine, well, and good. But in the same token, how can you say what I say has racist undertones? So by same lefty logic lunacy, isn't this having racist undertones? Shouldn't white kids feel threatened by this? If you're in charge of an administrative office in a school district? Because if I can't call part of, how can you? Are you superhuman? Once again, where's the rubric that decides what's what here? Because I don't understand. Where's the rubric that decides what? And that's from September 16, 2025. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to C6. There we go again, Viva la Raza. And he's doing something more specifically with this one. Notice the Super Bowl ad, right? The decisive nature of having Bad Bunny perform, right? The sentiment that was building around this performance. He's out there loving it and stoking the flames of the divide in the name of empowerment. But once again, shouldn't this make people of the community feel a certain way? How can you trust him to do what's right by a kid of a different race? I'm asking that because that's what was applied to me for loving this country, the country that brings everybody in, compared to just singling out, I love, long live Mexico. Long live the Mexican culture. Where's the parallels here? Which, is there any? I don't know. I know I lost my job. I got blackballed from education for it. But this stuff is completely acceptable. Okay, let's keep it rolling then. Oh, no kings. You wouldn't know. Way, Ron. You're a no kings guy. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But there you go, October 18, 2025. No kings, boom. Right? Meanwhile, he acts as the authoritarian dictator that knows what's in everyone's heart, can label speech, can character assassinate someone, and ultimately pressure to get the district to fire somebody. But no kings. The hypocrisy on the left is astounding. And notice I have the blacked out mark next to his name. He had pictures of his kids. It wasn't their faces, but I'm keeping them off. But Ronnie Boy, is this appropriate? What political side are you showing that you align with? And then if people disagree with your political side, should they be fearful on how you're going to treat their kids? Should you be having a job in a school district where you oversee a budget and 12 other employees or 11 other employees? I know there's a hierarchy there. You're higher up there. You're number 2 or 3 in that office. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy, no kings, no kings. But yet they walk around and wield the gavel like nobody's business, getting you out of the way if you dare question the narrative. And I didn't even question the narrative. I said, I love this country, think it was the greatest country ever founded. So I don't understand how that's a threat to him. Oh, I do. I do. I do. Because you can't have someone love this country and then interact with kids. But you could say long live the Mexican culture and be in charge of everything and everything is all well and good. Yeah, okay. But he has a couple more up there. We're not done with Ron just yet. There's a couple more posts so you guys get a good picture of it. There you go. Here's President Trump when asked to condemn white supremacists during the debate, right? And there's Ron from February 6th. Believe him, blatant racism is the pattern as far as you can go back. I wonder how many Proud Boys were standing by for their ICE duty. So, racist undertone, anybody? Can anyone pick up on possibly how he's feeling towards ICE agents? What happens if you work for ICE and you have kids in the Cherry Creek School District? Should you feel safe having this man in charge of anything? These are just questions I'm asking. I'm not saying he should, I'm just asking. Because if you're applying the logic they applied to me, to him, how? Because you can't. It's all double standards by their side. Because they want this type of mentality in their leadership, in charge of their school buildings, in front of our kids every day. They want this mentality in there. Because they believe anyone that thinks differently is a threat. Meanwhile, it's entirely the other way around. They are the threat to the well-being of our society. They are the ones that attack verbally, and then they'll go after you financially. I lost my job, 17 years in education, great reviews, never had real issues, gone. No chance of recourse either, because the HR, Courtney Smith was in on it. Head of legal at Cherry Creek, Sonia McKenzie, in on it. Okay? It's a criminal cartel there. And I'm going to be exposing them a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. You have no idea the ammunition I have. And I'm not even talking about my own law case. I'm going to let my law case play out because there is plenty of stuff there. I'll let that play out whenever we can do things with the public through the court system. Fine, so be it. I have other people giving me stuff, Cherry Creek. And you're not going to know when it's coming, but these things will be coming out selectively as we progress through the summer into next school year. Because it needs to be said. You need to own this, or at least be exposed for who you are, and let the school district, let the school community make the decisions on who they want in charge. And here's the other thing. The school board is complicit in all this because they could stop this at any time and they choose not to. They could easily go to their legal counsel and say, we're done here, get this fixed, but they don't. Why? Because they promote the same ideology, right? So you have to get the members of the school board out. Since this happened to me, there's been 2 new members on the school board. There's been 2, and one of them's already been kicked out because he used racist language. And I'm going to go talk to the people he talked to, Cherry Creek. I know where he hangs out. So I'm going to go talk to the people that talked to him, and I can't wait to report back on that. But yeah, I know where he hangs out. I know kind of what was said, but I'm going to go to the horse's mouth before I go any further. And I'm going to report back, and we're going to hear what Mr. Bates said. Because they won't publish that. They won't publish that public statement. Oh, of course not. No. Bad for business. Bad for business. Right? And then here's one last picture off of Ron's Facebook that got sent to me. And here he is taking a kneeling in front of this monument. And let's read. I'm going to read this monument to you if you can't see it on the screen. Make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in. This dude is brainwashed because he believes I don't have civil rights. School districts believe teachers, at least Cherry Creek believes teachers don't have civil rights at work, and that anything that comes out of your mouth at work, I could fire you for. And then this guy could post whatever he wants on his Facebook page, and he thinks that's completely fine. And the district knows he posts this. They see this. Community members see this. But this is all well and good. But simply being asked, how do I identify in an equity training, and I say I'm an American that loves this country, you, sir, fired. All right. Well, here I am now, a year, 2 years now removed. And I have a platform, and I have a boss that trusts me to handle business on a show, so I'm going to use that. And by the way, all this happened because of Cherry Creek. They caused all this. That's the other part of it. I didn't leave education. I wasn't willing. I didn't want to leave education. I liked my job. I know I had to deal with a lot of stuff in there, but I liked my job. I honestly liked my time off. I liked the flexibility to see my kid and raise my kid. They took all that from me. So now I'm going to take what needs to be taken back. And that's going to come through exposure. And they're going to feel it. Because the dirt that they have done is out of control. And I just know a little, I'm just speaking about what I know in just one building. They have other buildings where other people are contacting me from. So it'll be fun. And once again, if you want to contact me, of course, I will always keep you anonymous. No one will know who you are. We can have a phone call, we can have a meetup, we can do whatever. I'm down to help. I'm down to air the dirty laundry because I'm tired of how this district operates. And the fact is, they didn't see this coming. They didn't see someone that would figure out a way to develop a platform or get on a platform. I didn't develop it, sorry. I'm not taking credit, Joe. I didn't develop this. Just let you know, I did not develop this. But I was able to join onto this platform that I am so appreciative of, and I'm going to do good for it. And I'm going to do good by it because it needs to be done. Giving a voice to the voiceless. And that's what I'm going to do. So if you're a parent, teacher, student in the area and you got some things you want to get off your chest and we have documentation that we could use to support it, let's do it. Well, it'll be fun. But yeah, this is my new job now. Amazing. And you see that? You see that? I found a way. In America, you can find a way. You just gotta be willing to pay the price. You gotta put the time in. You gotta put the effort in. I didn't know anything I was doing when I got hired here. The first couple months here were crazy. But I figured it out. And that's what you gotta do. And that's what you can do. Anyone can do it. Black, brown, white, boy, girl. Anyone can do it. Because we're all individuals. We all have a chance. We all can wake up every day and decide what we want to do and how we want to do it and what type of person we want to be. We're not locked into a box. But what the left is trying to do through this mind rot is to lock us into these boxes where we think we're helpless, where we can improve our lives. And we can, and all people can. You just have to be willing to go forward with it. No one's going to hand you anything. And that's how they get people hooked, is the promise, I'm going to give you this, I promise I'm going to give you that. They never will. They're just going to use, and then they'll throw you away when they're done with you. Because that's what the left has historically done, no matter where they've infiltrated. That's what they do. And once again, that part of communism is not taught in our schools either. Like, that's not taught either, because it unmasks the whole thing. If you actually like break it down in the different countries that this has happened in and what has happened after they've taken over, like, yeah. So yeah, here we are. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I thought that was a fun show. I enjoyed it. I appreciate the supports in the chat. Thanks, Susan. I have no choice but to give them hell, Susan. When someone comes for your livelihood, someone comes for your family's well-being, what are you going to do? You're going to pack up and run? Some people will. I won't. I'm not built that way. I was never built that way. My upbringing was a tough one. I was poor. Grew up on welfare. Had to do without. Didn't really have a dad around. Right? I had a struggle, but that upbringing made me a tough son of a bitch I am today. And I'm not freaking going anywhere. And I know Creek's going to play dirty. They're going to want to dig shit up and go looking. Go ahead. At the end of the day, you acted unethically and you got caught. And now you had to own it in front of the 10th Circuit. And now I'm waiting, and we're waiting. Hopefully the 10th Circuit will have a honest and fair response. And then we proceed to court where I could sue all of you, because that's what deserves to happen. And you shouldn't deserve qualified immunity. Lissa, Ron, Courtney, none of you deserve qualified immunity because you all knew you were trampling on my civil rights when you fired me. That's why you had the pretext of lying to me about the budgetary cut. So you don't deserve qualified immunity. I really hope the judges see that. You guys need to be made an example of. You don't deserve qualified immunity. You weren't acting in better good. You conspired to take away my civil rights and my job because I love this country. You don't deserve qualified immunity. I quite frankly don't know how you guys sleep at night. Maybe you do. Maybe you're vampires. I have no idea what the hell you guys are. But I know you're not humans. And what's ever done is going to be exposed. And if you want to try and character assassinate me even more, go ahead. It's going to be hard to do because I got a laundry list of hundreds of people that will come out of the woodwork to support me in the work I did. From all communities, from back in New York, from out here. I got them all because my character always spoke how I did my job. Was I perfect? No. Did I make mistakes? Sure. But was I intentionally mean, rude, or racist toward kids? Never. You're never going to find that. But you're going to play dirty, and I'm ready for it. Just be ready to ante up when you need to. Because if it's going to go this way, yeah, I'm not backing down, and I'm going to give you hell. And if you haven't paid attention, I got a war chest of ammunition as evidence of your behavior. You admitted it in court now, finally. You also admitted it in the paperwork, but, you know, we had activist judges that were just off the walls. This 10th Circuit seemed to be a little bit more reasonable, which I appreciate. But I'm waiting for the ruling. I'm not putting the cart before the horse. I'm pleased with how the arguments went. I'm hopeful. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. But I'm not going anywhere. Joe's got my back. He offered me a job. I'm happy here. I could help support my family. My wife's happy. I'm doing something I enjoy, and I believe I'm making a difference, and still doing some education here. So this is my new classroom. All because of Cherry Creek School District. And it's funny, I'm not that far from you guys either. Not that far from you. So yeah, it's amazing how the things work out. It's amazing how I got connected here. It's just amazing how things worked out. It really is. And with that, I'm going to pray us out. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity to sit today and provide some knowledge and some entertainment to our audience and the message. Dear Lord, thank you for a beautiful day. Thank you for a loving family. Thank you for a supportive network. Thank you for America First Legal in this legal fight that I'm pursuing to rectify the wrong and to send a message throughout the country to school districts that you cannot fire a teacher and you cannot entrap a teacher by inviting them to speak freely and then firing them for the answer you don't like. So, Lord, I appreciate all of the opportunities you have given me. And I know from those opportunities, there's a lot of dark times over the past year. I visited a lot of dark places. My wife and kids saw the dark side of me, but they stayed with me, showed me patience, showed me love. And I thank you for that, Lord. They choose to love me every day. I thank you. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for our sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Hey, Grandma, Grandpa, Dad, love and miss you guys every day. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for staying with me today. Hope you learned something. We'll see you tomorrow. Class dismissed.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew.